Our team at 𝙁𝙧𝙚 just wrapped up 2 backyard build projects in Toronto, a garden suite and a laneway suite. Now, these aren't just backyard makeovers, they're a smart move for building stable, cash-flowing investments in a market that's anything but predictable right now. Here's the truth. Sitting around waiting for the market to boom isn't really a plan. It's really just wishful thinking. If you want real, actionable results, it's really time to focus on projects that deliver solid rents, better cash flow, and more reliable value add. And so in this video, we'll walk through these completed projects, share lessons we've learned, and break down all of the numbers. But before we do, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and book a call with us if you want to see how we can help you out. All right, first stop, we're at Nick's Garden Suite. Nick, tell us about this build.
Well, welcome. This build is in the East End. It is a 2-story, 1,075 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. We do have a dining area, a living area, and a full-size kitchen. The house has heated flooring throughout on the first floor and on the second floor. We also have heat pumps for AC units. We have separate gas meters, separate hydrometer. The windows are extra large for natural lighting. For this garden suite, when we got the permits, we needed angular planes on the second floor on all sides. But to get the natural light up here, we put a lot of skylights up. In this particular bedroom in the front end, the architect has the queen-size bed going this way. In this side, he said we can put an IKEA armoire and a desk right here. And the last bedroom in the back, the skylight, it opens up.
Yeah.
So they don't allow windows, but they allow skylights. So there's plenty of room here for a big guy such as myself.
Yeah, even with the angular plane, it still works. That was one thing that I was kind of worried about, putting a bathroom, but it's okay.
So one of the issues we had to face with the staircases, on the landing here, you need a minimum of 1.6 meters before you hit the ceiling. And one way to get away with that is adding this skylight, which adds more head clearance.
One thing that I wanted to ask about is timelines. A lot of people, they're hearing that laneway suites and garden suites take over a year to build. How long did this project take?
After receiving permits,
Yeah.
It took me 6 months. I found that during this build, the finishing touches take a lot longer than the big stuff. And I thought the big stuff would be hard. No, they were easy, like framing done, bang, 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 It's just the detailing. You're looking at everything and you're more meticulous and you want that stuff to be right.
With garden suites, you do need that 1 meter side setback between you and your neighbor. If you don't ask for your neighbor's permission, you need 1 meter on your personal property.
The mutual driveway with the measurements and according to the survey we received, either we would have to get the permission of the neighbor, which in this case, we wouldn't probably have gotten it because they didn't want us to build. Or the city thankfully said we need a lawyer's letter to say that there's enough room. So it was just a lawyer's opinion.
You mentioned that your neighbors were not happy with you building this. So I'm guessing that's one challenge. Can we talk more about the challenges that you faced?
When you're building things, you come across a lot of challenges and you just got to take the punches as they come. And the biggest one was next door neighbor has a 150-year-old oak tree at the back corner of his house. We had to build, it's not like a rectangular shaped home. The back end has a little jolt in. And the other thing too is we couldn't dig down. So this is slab on grade. So we have 21 helical piles around and you've seen my rebar that holds everything was extra strong. So this doesn't shift.
There are 2 options in terms of foundation. Some people choose helical piles and some people do trench and pour. Obviously you could not do trench and pour because of the tree.
Right.
If you did have the option, do you know what would make more sense?
The helical pile, I prefer. It added a cost to the build,
yeah,
but it was easy. No digging, no dirt to pull out. This one, they came in, they just drill in the helical piles and it was easy.
So if someone were to build one of these in the future, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
The first thing we did is budget. It can be done much cheaper if that's the way you choose to do it. Rental grade, you can do it for, I would say $200 a square foot, maybe $250 a square foot.
Self-managed.
Self-managed, yeah.
Hard costs.
Yeah. Before the permits.
The soft costs,
yeah. This one, you're looking $325. The costly things that we did here that you really don't have to do is heated flooring on the second floor as well, not just on the main floor.
Yeah.
We have fiberglass doors. We have a brick facade. And we chose, instead of aluminum siding where it dents easy and all that, we have the hardy board cement boards that'll last.
All right, I think we're good. Let's head over to Christine's Laneway Suite build next. For the second stop, we're at Christine's Laneway house. She just completed building it and she's gonna give us a tour. So Christine, tell us about it.
We have a 3-bedroom laneway suite. It's in the St. Clair and Dufferin area. It's roughly 900 square feet. So when you walk in through the front door, you immediately walk into the living area. There's a kitchen to the right. We've got a really nice style and design for the kitchen, stainless steel appliances, and then a living space right after. We have 2 washrooms here. They're both full washrooms. So the one on the main floor is a 3-piece. Right after, there's a bedroom. So there's a bedroom on the main floor with full closet space. And then moving upstairs, we also have 2 bedrooms and a full bath. We also have a washer and dryer upstairs as well. Both bedrooms are really great sizes with closets. And at the front of the house, there's also a parking pad.
Okay, so that sounds great, but I'm sure to get to this point, you encountered quite a few challenges. So can you share maybe one big challenge that you went through and how you overcame it?
Actually, I wouldn't say it was many big challenges or one big challenge. It's a lot of little things. I think the 2 main ones, one is dealing with a lot of different trades and a lot of different contractors. Just understanding how to work with the individuals and their teams. That's always a challenge that I had to learn. And a second one is really just knowing the lead times for certain things. Even though we may need windows and doors on a certain date, you do have to prep, weeks in advance, maybe even a month, have it all ordered, and then coordinating, because even though it's ready, you can't actually have it delivered on site because, we're in the city of Toronto, there's not a lot of space.
Windows and doors is a big one. I remember when I built mine, I think it took 3 months. But I feel like things have sped up since. Are windows and doors the item that took the longest, or what else should we keep in mind?
Windows and doors took about 3 weeks for me. One thing that I didn't expect to take a long time, which did, was an estimate for lumber. That for certain companies, like the larger companies, it took about 2-3 weeks as well. You have to wait for the estimate, and then once you get the estimate, you have to wait for the lumber if it's not immediately available.
So if someone were to consider building one of these, what's one advice you would give them?
I think a tip would be take lots of photos along the way. Every time I was here, I would make sure to take videos and photos. A lot of times it's because I might be back at the office and there's certain details that I forgot to check or I just forgot in general, and then having the photos to document. I've actually had one scenario where an inspector did not ask for something pre-concrete pour, and then he realized after, he's like, oh, did you do X, Y, Z? And because I had a photo, I was able to send it to him, and he was okay with the photo and passed it.
We just toured 2 types of backyard houses in Toronto, a garden suite and a laneway suite, and both are great for boosting rental income, cash flow, and property value. But they're not actually exactly the same, so let's recap the differences now. Laneway suites can be built on more lots with laneways because the access is more flexible. You can use either the laneway itself or the side of the house, plus you can build right up to the lot line on the width, which ends up making backyard houses on these laneways make more sense on smaller lots. Garden suites have stricter rules in Toronto. In general, you need a 45-degree angular plane on all 4 sides, starting at 4 meters above ground if you want to build right up to the minimum setback, which can shrink the size of your build. But with recent changes to backyard rules in Ontario, if you only have a maximum of 3 units on your property, including the backyard house, some of these restrictions are loosened. Specifically, they've scrapped the angular plane requirements and allow for smaller setbacks too. Just as an FYI, if you have more than 3 units, then Toronto is still using the stricter rules. The reality is that we will end up seeing more garden suites than laneway suites in the future in Toronto. You can build them on almost any backyard in Toronto, and you might end up with a bigger house if you're looking at a property further from the core. On the other hand, only 36,000 properties do qualify for laneway suites in Toronto right now, and these tend to be smaller, more expensive lots closer to downtown. So the numbers for both can actually work equally well. And while we're on the topic of numbers, let's look at the cost a little bit more closely. If you do buy a starter turnkey 2-unit house today in Toronto for around $1 million, you might get $600 of positive cash flow each month if you rent out a 4-bedroom upper unit and a basement 1-bedroom unit. Then, when you build a 2-story, 1,000 square foot backyard house for around $400,000, you could bump the rents up by $3,200 a month. Even with higher operating expenses, cash flows can be way better, assuming the same 80% loan-to-cost ratio. Here's where things get a little bit more interesting. Interest rates are coming down, and so borrowing for construction is getting cheaper, and that will translate to better value-add returns for projects. Now, if you look at market comps, it is possible that these backyard houses can be valued closer to $1 million. But in reality, it's best to be more conservative, and a good rule of thumb is that many refinances are actually coming in 20% above the rental grade build cost for ADUs. Now, here's one more thing to think about. It's not just enough to build one of these blindly and hope for the best. A successful project really does come down to execution, how well you handle zoning, design, budget, timelines. Messing up any of these and you could eat into your value add gains fast, and this is why working with the right team does matter. At Elevate, our sales team is not just real estate agents, but we're investors who've been there, done that, and we're here to help you when you buy an investment property with us, especially when it comes to multiplexes and value add projects. But whether you want to buy a property that's ready to rent out or you want to buy one that can be converted into multiple units, we can help. Here's what it's like to work with us. We'll take the time to understand your goals, help you find great investment opportunities using facts and data, and eventually help you buy the best option for you. If you need renovations, we can connect you to trusted contractors as you manage your project, and we'll be around to coach you as well. Once it's done, we can lease and manage the property for you too. If you're ready to get started, just head over to this link here and let's chat.